time, dancing around. He's in trouble, gets out of the scrum, looking downfield, and he's got a man. Gets to the 10, to the 5, he's in. Touchdown, Marcise, yes. Is intercepted. It's fumbled, and Neely is going to walk into the end zone.
It's the Coach's Corner with legendary head football coach from Mater Dei High School, Bruce Rollinson. Let's join our host, Kevin Turner, and Coach Rollinson for in-depth discussion, commentary, and all things Mater Dei football.
And we want to welcome you to 2021, our first installment of the Coach's Corner. Kevin Turner, along with legendary head football coach from Mater Dei High School, Bruce Rollinson. And Coach, looks like we're turning the corner a little bit here, trending in the right direction. Obviously, you guys are back running. It was great to see the kids on campus today. When I came up, I heard the choral and the orchestra rehearsing in the parking structure. Sounded like the angels from heaven.
Yes.
Kind of gave me goosebumps. It's great to see kids back on campus. And first of all, big shout out to all of the administration, the staff. Just been an amazing journey. And you guys have handled this pandemic in a Herculean manner. In fact, in the Wall Street Journal, day before yesterday, it talked about who are the unsung heroes during this pandemic. And what they noted was obviously the Amazon and the drivers and the healthcare workers. But the Wall Street Journal notes the real unsung heroes in education in 2020 and 2021 is the Catholic school administrators and teachers. We've got 1.68 million kids that are in school either virtually or landed on campus. Here in Southern California, 70,000 students in the parochial Catholic school system, and those kids have managed to stay in school, of which 78% are of color. And those are the demographics that seem to be left behind during the pandemic in the public school setting. And it warms my heart knowing that this school, the infrastructure, the support, they're not leaving these kids behind. And you look at your team, for example, children of color, African American, Pacific Islander, Hispanic, Asian.
Yep.
Not left behind, and that's something you've got to be very proud of.
Well, first of all, Happy New Year, everybody, and it's great to be back in the studio with Kevin, and we have an exciting, hopefully 4 months coming at you with our podcast. But going back, Kevin, first of all, I have to talk about Mater Dei High School. COVID hit last March, and they immediately went to work and flipped 2,000 plus students out of the classroom to remote learning. Fortunately, we're an Apple distinguished school, so the kids had the technology, but it was a monumental task. Just stand back and say, okay, on a Friday in March, that's the last day on campus. On Monday, they went live on what we call Kaltura, and nobody missed a beat. The teachers kept right on going. So I commend our administration, Francis Clare, Jerry Campo, unbelievable job, and others. Secondly, the teachers. I look at how hard they're working, and now, let me try to give you a quick understanding, okay? We have what's called a hybrid schedule. We've been rolling open since August. 1,000 of our students come on campus. Class begins at 8:10. They vacate campus unless they're in athletics, which is my helmet heads. They have academics in the morning, and then we have our training in the afternoon. But the majority of the kids vacate campus. The next 1,000 come. So now a teacher teaches 3 or 4 in the morning and has to reteach the same subject material 4 times in the afternoon. And my wife is doing that with advanced placement history, and she's pretty tough, and at a certain point she said, man, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. But they're committed to the kids. And what I like about what you're saying, Kevin, is here at Mater Dei and the other Catholic schools that are open, it's about the kids, okay? We suck it up. We've got jobs, so we're going to go to work. And yeah, we're getting tested for everything we're worth, whether you're the head football coach or the AP history teacher like my wife, or the normal college curriculum English teacher. But we just keep pushing through, because all you got to do is go out there at about 7:45 or at about 11:30 and see the smiles on kids coming on campus. This is where they want to be. And obviously, I've become very passionate about let us play, okay? And it's time for that to happen. But again, everybody, I've said this publicly for the last 3 months, everybody's got to stop and let's think about the kids, the mental health of the children that we're teaching. The Catholic schools, the Diocese of Orange have done a tremendous job. They pretty much turned it over to Mater Dei, and now the other ones, the Santa Margaritas, and everybody was coming in right behind us, and I commend them, because it is a monumental task to do what we're doing with social distancing, following the guidelines, with plexiglass in front of you and teaching with a mask on. But you know what? This is where the kids belong.
Absolutely. Let's talk yesterday, National Letter of Intent Signing Day,
Yeah.
the late period. And I did some quick math, and this is unofficial math, but over your career, you're going into your 33rd year, I looked at all the kids, all the Division I athletes that have signed through your program, and did a rough estimation of what the value of those scholarships. And by my math, with this last signing period, you are now over $100 million in value creation for the young men that you've mentored here in your 32 years. Talk about, how does that feel to you personally, to know that you've had that level of contribution financially for the young men that have come through your program?
I'm glad you point that out, okay? It's not about, we signed 9 players out of the senior class of 2020. And I'm like you, okay? I do the math on that, and I do the experience of them getting a college education, and then I look at the parents. I talked to some of the parents yesterday, and when we had the early signing in December, and the satisfaction, happiness, and let me tell you, you went through it. I've always said this, okay? The best investment we can make is in our own children. The best investment you could make is in your children. And now you're reaping the benefits of that investment. That's how I look at it. No, not every kid's going to get a scholarship. Not every football player is going to get a scholarship. But that's your goal. And now to watch those guys yesterday, Rajon going to USC, Terrence going to the Ivy League, to Cornell, and then God bless Marcicia.
It was amazing.
Full-blown commitment to the Air Force Academy. But it's such a tremendous feeling for me. And signing day to me is one of the most exciting days, because I'm a parent. And I'm looking, okay, I mean, I had 2 go to college, and everybody always asks me, well, when are you going to retire? And I say, well, I got to pay for those college educations. But the bottom line is it's not about how many Division I athletes you get. It's about how many opportunities you provided. Not me provided, my staff, Mater Dei High School, all of the people that invested for the last 4 years in whichever one you want to mention, Rajon, okay? And the investment that the parents made, all those youth football games at 10 a.m. and sitting in a snack stand and all that kind of stuff, that investment paid off. Dreams come true. That's what I say.
Well, to me, what's really exciting is the alignment and the balance and the whole person that Mater Dei develops: God, country, service, community. And then you look at where these young men are going. And just this, I was looking at this class that signed yesterday, the 3 young men, Terrence Caldwell, Marcise Yates, and Rajon Davis. All 3 of those, USC, Air Force, and Cornell, all top 20 institutions academically.
Yep.
So it's not just about the X's and O's and playing in the cathedral on Saturday, but it's really about the years beyond their football career and how they're aligning and setting themselves up for future success beyond the gridiron.
No, okay, I got an Ivy Leaguer, okay, and he's a 4.1 student with the rigors of football. And the grind I put those kids through, and just take the time that you have to commit for all year round training, and yet you're still 4.1. Marcise Yates, I love the kid as an athlete. I love the kid as a person, but he's also committing to our country. He's going to get to play the great game of football, but he's got a 5-year commitment after that. And yet, that's the kind of guy we want defending our country. That's the kind of young man that we want. And Rajon is going to one of the top academic institutions, and he will get value from his education, just like he got value. 3.4 student here at Mater Dei. So you're exactly right. And the rest of the signing class, Amherst, Columbia, it was crazy yesterday. And I did the math. There were 17 kids up on the stage, and I'm going, okay, let's go with a 200,000 to 300,000. That's, I think, somewhere.
We can run the algorithm out a little farther. I don't want to be, but an Ivy League. Remember that old Visa or MasterCard commercial? They'd show this family going on vacation. They would say priceless.
Yes.
So you could argue that those Ivy Leaguers go well beyond the value of that, just the principle of contribution in and of itself with an Ivy League education is spectacular, and you got to be very proud of that.
I believe me, those days. That's why I coach, and we've talked about it on the podcast. It's not about CIF championships. It's about days like yesterday, where you see a kid that made 4 years pay off. And you mentioned it. You've got to, they have to do 80 hours of service, along with football, along with keeping their grades.
Plus the commute. These guys aren't down the street, right?
Exactly.
The grind of a 90-minute commute to and from, and the wear and tear and what it takes, how resilient and how dedicated and how focused and how committed you need to be in order to maintain that level of academic excellence, athletic excellence, and then you've got rehab and training and a hammy or a shoulder, and Joe Donahue's crew's over here, and you got to get there at 6 a.m. and stay till 7 o'clock at night. It's quite remarkable what you've accomplished, and regardless of whether we play, just the way you've managed these young men and helped lift their spirits and give them hope. You can't underestimate the value of that, Coach. Granted, we haven't played and we haven't done the Monarch March and gone to the Grotto, and some of the kids have missed out, but keeping these kids together and keeping their psyche and their mental health above standard has got to be, it's an amazing accomplishment to see what you've done, what your school's done, and giving these kids hope and keeping them fired up.
Well, about 3 weeks ago, right after we came back, I was watching practice, and I observed 3 or 4 practices, and I'll be short, but I saw the urgency leaving practice, because why are we doing this? And 2 weeks ago, I brought the staffs together and for a very short meeting on the field, and I said, look, fellas, we have to create the urgency. Okay, I know we're jeopardizing our health and all of that right now, but you know what? We got to think about those kids. We got to coach. We got to coach detail. We got to run around. We got to congratulate. Nothing can change from us. Right now, we have to be the urgent ones. Now, it could shift here very soon. And I loved what you just said. I've talked to younger players who they're going, coach it. And I go, son, all I can tell you is you haven't felt it yet. You haven't got the full experience. You haven't got off the bus at the bowl and the place is already rocking. You haven't been in the locker room where I've taken it about 90 decibels up. You haven't walked out of the bowl, out of the locker room, and there's 10 minutes to go, and the whole student body's to your left, and they're just blowing up the stadium. And then the game starts, and boom, everybody's hitting it. It's going 100 miles an hour, and we're getting them off and making adjustments and getting in guys' dishes and other guys. You haven't experienced that. Hang in there. It's coming. It's coming.
Excited.
It's coming. Yeah, it's what keeps me going.
Yeah,
it's what keeps me going. I got to get back. I want you to think about one thing. Okay, most likely if we come back, it'll be limited fans, if any. Live streaming, you got employment for 5 weeks. But think about next August, the first high school, Mater Dei goes into the stadium. It'll be sold out. Any fan, even guys that never went to a high school game will say, you know what, this is a historic moment. Even though it's only been, a year, this is the first high school game in a long time. I'm going. I want to be part of it. And we get to be part of it. So, it's coming. It's coming. And that's what keeps me going.
Hey, we just want to reach out and thank our sponsors. This couldn't be possible without the dedication and support of our avid, dedicated sponsors. I want to thank Carlo Valdez, the Miliari Group, former three-striper Chris Poliska at Total Quality Lending, and of course, our two spirits sponsors, that is Hook by Crook, Great Cab Reserve, available at Costco, and Blue Roos Vodka, available at Bevmo. We can't thank all of you enough for providing the support to enable us to share these experiences and promote what's great about high school football and Mater Dei and going down memory lane. But Coach, let's kind of shift gears here a little bit. I noticed that, and this is a kid that I just love, and I hate to go out on a limb right now, but I think this young man getting 2 to 3% better over the next 5-6 years could be a first-round draft pick. I'm talking about Damani Jackson, your junior, who's committed to USC, along with Kyron Ware-Hudson. It just seems like that Mater Dei pipeline's going right back up the 110 freeway in Trojan land. But talk about this young man, Damani Jackson, who some people may not be aware of. Last year when I came out to rejoin your team to do some of the games, you pulled me aside when he was a sophomore. You said, I want you to look at this guy. And honest, Abe, when I saw this young man as a sophomore, he looked like he was a junior Division I college football player. A body, he's got the speed, he's a 10-6, 100-meter guy, quick twitch, but he's very long and very physical. This guy is freakishly talented.
This is what I want to do on the podcast. And it's coming. We're going to be able to actually throw up a play. But yeah, my seniors to be the 21 season, okay, hopefully we get a few games here coming up. But the 22 class is loaded, and Damani is one of the top. Some publications have him ranked the number one corner in the United States. And you know me, what I'm going to talk about first is he's a great kid, doing well in the classroom. He's drank the Kool-Aid. He's really true monarch. He is freakishly athletic. He's 6'1", got the long arms. Only Damani, he came to me last year before COVID hit and said, I'd really I've always been interested in running track. And I said, go for it. I love track, you love track. Because I know it's called a team sport, but it's an individual sport. Damani, in his first race, now this is in early March, Damani pops a 10.72 in his first 100 meters. Now think about where he'd have been at in May with a full season of training. The weather's warmed up. I think we're looking at
as a sophomore.
Yeah, as a 10th grader. Maybe a 10.5, 10.4. I mean, he's cat quick. It's fun. And that's, right now with social distancing and everything, we get a little bit of stuff that we can do. And I find myself, watching these athletes like Damani, and, you go, wow, where'd that come from? His burst, his ability to jump, his vertical is crazy. But yet he's a great teammate. He's a great teammate. None of it's gone to his head. He will probably be a team captain. I don't want to, promote anybody because that's the players decide. But, now all of a sudden, but look at the back end. Josh Hunter played as a ninth grader. Damani played as a ninth grader. Josh played as a ninth grader. They both started. Cam Sidney, if you remember,
yes.
He came out of nowhere last year. I mean, we had him on a track, probably that he would contribute as a junior. Injuries, next guy up, Cam steps in. And then we got Christian Patero at safety. Okay.
He's long and physical.
Exactly. You remember his hit in the Santa Margarita game. And he's only going to be a 10th grader. Leviticus Sua, who is now 6'2", 225 pounds, only a 10th grader, going to be on the inside. And then there's the future NFL star, David Bailey, on the outside, and he's only a junior. God, I'm getting fired up now. And
he's only a 4.4 student too.
Oh yeah,
his older brother went to Harvard.
Exactly.
Sarah.
Exactly. Yeah, he knocks it out. So they're fun to watch, and that's why I'm excited for our audience. It will turn them loose. Now I go back. Can you imagine? That's that first game, and right now the publications are just pumping information out, but they don't really have any juice behind them. And so now all of a sudden, you can imagine the number of TV cameras and publications that will be at our first game. And it's all rightfully, it's right that they get this attention. They're superior athletes, and I'm lucky. But for the three stripers, they are monarchs. Nothing's changed. I still grind them. Okay, I still
light them up.
Yeah, you've got to be accountable. You're subject to the consequences, but they buy into that. They buy into that. So, and it's exciting. And I didn't even talk about the Rashaad Brown in the offensive side. We'll do that next time.
So Rashaad Brown, is he committing today? Because I saw something come out on social media that he's ready to make a decision.
I don't know. I heard something about that. We were on our flex day yesterday, so I didn't have the athletes yesterday. I'm going to kind of put my arm around Rashaad and say...
Maybe pump the brakes a little bit?
Well, Kevin, you've been through the recruiting process. I think Rashaad believes if he commits, okay, and it's his right to do whatever he wants, but if he commits, it's going to get worse. Because the colleges are going to get, okay, you committed. We got to work harder to get you to flip your commitment. And sometimes the kids believe, well, if I commit, everybody else will ease down. Because when you're in that category, 5-star, 4-star, there's a lot.
Talk to Clay Helton about that. With number 32, your Rajon Davis just flipped over to SC, and he took a trip last week. I was reading in the paper on his own nickel to Ohio State in a blizzard and a snowstorm. But that's good that he went through the process.
Yeah. Rashaad, his dad and mom, they're awesome people, and they were smart to do that. And the snow probably got them thinking, whoa, what are we doing here? But that's why I feel bad for, one of my favorites, Jalen Davies, J-Man, he'd never been to the University of Oregon. And he's now a full-time student getting ready for off-season training with the Ducks. And when he went up there to start his classes in early January, that was his official visit, except he was an official student. So that's tough on kids. And you hear kids talk about it. It is tough.
Become familiar with the umbrella. Now, if you commit to Arizona State, all you got to worry about is SPF 30. Beautiful weather there. Monarchs. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly.
No undue influence.
Yeah, I'm gonna get blown up now because I read it this morning. The pipeline is back on from Mater Dei to USC. Okay, I'm looking right at the camera. I don't tell them where to go to college. I would never do that. If they're unhappy at college, it didn't work out, they're going to call me first. I don't ever want that call to say, Coach, you told me to go here. I don't ever want that. I'll give them advice if they're unhappy, but I don't want to. They can go wherever they want. Happens to be they're going to SC. You and I think we've said this. One of my best days was when we went out to Tempe.
Played some golf and then we swung by the.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, and it was. I think it was early April. It was like 90 degrees, but there was a nice breeze. They've got great facilities. But that's what these kids, but that's why you got to put the work in. That's why you got to get your service hours. That's why you got to study. Again, go back to what we talked about earlier. Make your dream come true. Make your dream come true.
So I read this morning that I thought Rajon had, for some reason, I thought he was already had enough units to graduate, but he's in school. He's still here at Mater Dei. And he wants to suit up and get after it once the green light goes, which I think is admirable for a kid that's already committed to say, hey, I'm not opting out, I'm in.
Same thing with George Mickey Hahn going to Colorado State. I think George has, because he said, Coach, I'm not leaving my brothers. And I mean, that's tremendous. And I have no problem with the ones that left, okay? That's a personal decision. COVID created that. But for Rajon and Big George to say, Coach, I'm going to finish. I got to do it one more time. I got to put the stripes on. I mean, so heartwarming for me. And yeah, I'm selfish. I got two great leaders right there. I got the middle of my offensive line who has played since he was a freshman. I got Rajon, opposite Bailey and Rajon. It's like I said publicly yesterday. We would look around the locker room and there's certain kids you look at or I ask my assistant coach, I go, is Rajon ready to play? And they go, yeah. And I go, oh boy, look out. Because when he brings his A game and it's a big game, he's unstoppable. But going back to what you said, Kev, they're hanging with us and I commend them because even now, we're in February. They could have come and said, Coach, I'm going to go to my individual trainer. I'm not going to, but they were at practice Tuesday.
That's exciting. So give us kind of an update. I know the governor came out. There was press today that he really wants to do everything he can in a safe manner to get the kids back on the playing field. Specifically, he said, I've gotten a lot of lobbyists and folks working very hard to get football fired back up again. What's the best case scenario? When do you think you start this thing, and when would it potentially end? Or is there a sunset where you got to get it started by a certain date? Yeah. Otherwise, we're going to scrub the season.
The National High School Federation, NFHS, came out 2 days ago with a massive study and with the advice of the CCD and said the guidelines that we followed, March, April, May, June, July, were from the National Federation. And they said, we were wrong. Contact sports is not a spreader. Outdoor sports is not a spreader. And they went on and on. I want to be brief, but basically they even pointed out California and they said, let them go. That stimulated now the movement, okay? The governor appointed a specific person to be in charge of getting youth sports back. There was a 4-hour meeting, us coaches, but not, I wasn't behind it. Patrick Walsh from San Mateo, Rick Curtis out of Uni is working the Orange County guys. We formed an organization. We loaded nothing but statistical information. Now it's the ability, write your congressman, write your assemblyman. It's crunch time now. And Kevin, I'm telling you, I woke up this morning with a spring in my step. I have some inside guys that are giving me thumbs up. And so I think
the positive cases have come down
Yes.
38% in the last 2 weeks. Out of all the people that have tested this last week, only 7% testing positive.
Yeah.
So those numbers are plunging faster than the Mexican peso. I mean, it's good.
Yeah,
It's good
no,
stuff.
it is. And again, let's get these kids, give them some hope. I mean, their high school careers are getting blown up. Okay, even though we talked hybrid learning, let's get them all. Let's start to move in a positive direction. And again, I've said this so many times. Okay, us adults step back and say, think of the kids. Think of the kids' mental health. That's all you can ask. But I'm pretty excited right now. I think it's going to go. If I come back on next month and we're not in pads and my eyes aren't bloodshot and I got circles under my eyes, it means we haven't started yet.
All right. Well, we want to thank again our primary sponsors, the Miliari Group, Carlo Valdez, Wealth Management, Debt Consolidation, Wealth Preservation, and also Total Quality Lending. That's Chris Poliska's group. Great time to get a second home, fixed rate financing under 2.5%. You can get a 15-year fixed under 2%. Great money opportunities out there through Chris Poliska and Total Quality Lending. And Hook by Crook, we'll celebrate we'll raise our glass with a nice glass of Cab Reserve out of Napa. Or if you like the vodka side of the ledger, that's Blue Roost Vodka, available at Bevmo and also at Costco. So we're excited to move forward. We want to thank the coach for spending time with us here. I know your schedule is crazy right now. Looking forward to some real positive news, and congratulations once again for your 2021 signing class. Over $100 million over your career in athletic contribution and value. So that's something you got to be very proud of.
No, and we'll see you guys next month, and thank you for tuning in. April 12th, the Rollo Invitational, the financial crunch, but we'll talk about that again. It's on my football website if you want to sign up or sponsor. Kevin, thank you very much, brother. All right.
All right. For Bruce Rollinson, I'm Kevin Turner. Until next time, go Monarchs, and let's rock and roll, baby.
Yes.